Hey there and welcome. Today, we're going to dive deep and build the ultimate blueprint for a world-class QHSE program. That's quality, health, safety, security, and environment. We're going to break down how the best companies in the world build systems that not only keep their people safe and protect our planet, but also, and this is key, drive incredible business results. So, let's get right into it.
It really all boils down to this one simple question, right? How do you juggle all these critical priorities, safety, efficiency, responsibility, without dropping any of the balls? The answer isn't just having a bunch of rules. It's about having a deeply integrated system that's designed from the ground up to handle all that complexity. Okay, so where do we even begin on this journey? Well, first things first, you gotta build the foundation. We're talking about the core architecture, the very operating system that's gonna hold everything else together.
And that operating system, it's what we call an integrated management system, or IMS for short. Just think of it like this. Instead of having three separate, kind of clunky systems for quality, health and safety, and the environment, you combine them all into one single, powerful, streamlined framework.
So you might be asking, why even bother with all that? Well, the benefits are just huge. For starters, you immediately stop doing the same work over and over again, which is a massive boost to efficiency. All your processes start speaking the same language. And, most importantly, you get one single source of truth for all your compliance needs, which makes everybody's life so much easier.
And this slide right here, this is where the magic really happens. It shows you exactly how this works using the big international standards most companies use: ISO 9001 for quality, 14001 for environment, and 45001 for health and safety. So instead of juggling three separate policies, three different risk registers, and three audit programs, the IMS merges them. You end up with one unified QHSE policy, one comprehensive risk register, and one slick, streamlined audit program. Now that is what efficiency looks like in the real world.
All right, so we've got our integrated framework, but a framework is just a skeleton. Now we need the muscles, the tools that actually bring it to life. And that starts with the proactive toolkit, the stuff that helps us find and assess risks before they can cause any harm.
And the absolute cornerstone of this whole thing is HIRA, Hazard Identification and Risk Assessment. And look, this isn't just guesswork. It's a formal, systematic way of looking into the future, spotting potential dangers, whether it's a safety hazard, an environmental issue, or a security threat, and then really thinking through what the consequences could be.
So once you've found all these potential risks, how do you know which ones to tackle first? Well, that's where a simple tool like a risk matrix comes in. It helps us map everything out by looking at just two things. How likely is it that something will happen, and how severe will the impact be if it does? It's not about complex math. It's about sorting our risks so we can focus our energy on stopping those really nasty, high-impact scenarios. Now, let's switch gears to the E in QHSA for a sec. On the environmental side, managing risk all starts with one key idea: the environmental aspect. It sounds technical, but it's really just a way of describing anything a company does that can touch or interact with the environment around it. And check this out. This slide makes it super easy to understand. See, an aspect isn't the pollution itself. It's the source of the pollution. It's the fuel you burn. It's the wastewater you discharge. It's the trash you create. It's the cause that leads to an effect. And boom, here it is, plain as day. The cause and effect. The aspect is your diesel consumption. The impact is the greenhouse gas emissions. The aspect is discharging wastewater. The impact could be contaminating a river. The entire system is built to manage these connections and shrink those negative impacts.
But look, let's be real. No system is perfect, right? Things are going to go wrong. So what happens then? Well, that's where our reactive toolkit comes in. And it's all about turning failures into fuel for getting better.
I love this infographic because it just nails the massive culture shift we're talking about. The old way, it's all about the blame game. Who messed up? That approach absolutely destroys any chance of learning. The new way is about investigating the system. Why did our system let this happen? And that is how you build a resilient organization.
And this is so important. The whole point of an investigation is to learn, not to punish. It doesn't matter if it's an injury, a spill, or a security breach. We're on a hunt for the deep, systemic root cause so we can fix it for good and make sure it never, ever happens again.
So how do you do that? Well, one of the simplest, most powerful tools is the 5 whys method. Let's walk through it. A worker gets injured. Okay, why? Because a machine guard was removed. Why? Because it was slowing the job down. Why? They didn't have proper training. Why? The training program was out of date. And why? Because there was no process to review it annually. All of a sudden, you see the problem wasn't the worker at all, it was a failure in the management system.
And all of this, it leads us to what is, without a doubt, the most important piece of the puzzle. You can have the best systems, the best tools in the world, but they mean nothing without the right culture. Let's talk about the human element.
Think about it this way. A truly great program has two sides of the same coin. You've got your practical safety, that's the hardware like procedures, equipment, and safety gear, but then you have behavioral safety, that's the software. It's the habits, the decisions, and the shared beliefs of your people. And you absolutely have to have both to succeed.
And let me be clear, this culture starts at the top. It has to. Real safety leadership isn't about sending out emails. It's about visible commitment. Being out there where the work happens shows you care. It's about leading by example. You have to follow the rules yourself, because nobody respects a hypocrite. You have to create open communication so people feel safe to speak up. And you have to apply accountability fairly to everyone, because that's how you build trust.
And you know what? Building this culture often comes down to really simple, consistent habits. One of the absolute best, the daily toolbox talk. It's just a short 5-minute safety chat before a shift starts. It keeps risks top of mind and reminds everyone that safety is a team effort every single day.
Okay, so we've built our system. We've got the framework, the tools for being proactive and reactive, and we're building that crucial cultural foundation. But here's the thing. A world-class program is never done. The final step is to create an engine that drives continuous improvement, and that engine runs on good data.
And to do that, you have to understand this one critical difference: leading versus lagging indicators. Lagging indicators are all about looking in the rearview mirror. How many incidents did we have last year? But leading indicators, they try to predict the future. How many safety inspections did we complete? Great companies obsess over leading indicators because that's how you prevent incidents before they even happen.
And you know, this isn't just some internal thing anymore. It connects to a much bigger conversation that's happening globally. All that data you're collecting on emissions, on incidents, on employee well-being, that is the operational backbone of what we call ESG, environmental, social, and governance performance. And for investors and customers today, a strong ESG profile isn't a nice-to-have anymore. It's a requirement, and it all starts with solid QHSSE data.
Because at the end of the day, excellence isn't something you stumble into. It's something you build intentionally. A solid, long-term improvement roadmap lays out clear goals, major projects, and the key metrics you're going to track. It turns QHSSE from just another task into a core business strategy.
So, I want to leave you with this one question to take back with you. Look at your own organization. Are you guys just managing compliance? Just ticking the boxes? Or are you actively, intentionally building an integrated system and a powerful culture that drives real, sustainable excellence? Because that choice, it makes all the difference in the world.